Hey everyone, it's Lauren, and today we are going to take a look at all of the library books that I have out at the moment. That's right, it's gonna be a library haul. So this shelf right here is my library bookshelf. I'm super excited. Yes, I have a ton of books out from the library. And it's a little bit of a problem. I keep on going to the library and they keep on asking me if I need help finding anything, and then they look really confused when I tell them I could actually really use some help not finding books, because I currently have, I believe, 22 books out from the library, which is it's just a little bit. And you know, am I reading them? Kind of. Am I going back to the library to get more? Definitely. So let's dive in. And the first book is Nimona. I'm super excited to eventually get to this one. I've heard it's really good and super cute and just overall amazing. Next is Front Lines by Michael Grant. I've been on a bit of a historical fiction World War II kind of kick recently, and I was wandering through the library and this was out on display and I'm like, oh, well that looks good. Let's just stick that one in the bag and take that one home. So it came home with me. Third is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This was also a book that I think I was wandering through the library and found this one. It was either that or I was scrolling through Instagram and somebody had it up on their Instagram. One of those two. It looks really good. I'm super excited to dig into this one, but who knows when that's going to happen because 22 freaking books. The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet. You probably all don't know this. I don't think I've talked about this before, but I freaking love the Lizzie Bennet Diary series on YouTube. Like, it's one of my favorite things. The storytelling is just so innovative. I love the concept. I love the execution. It's just so well done, and my younger sister also loves it and told me about this book. So I grabbed it from the library and hopefully I'll get to read it soon, but there's a couple others on the list above it right now. Next is Blood, Water, Paint by Joy McCullough. I think I said her name right. If not, I'm so sorry, Joy. This one I did see either on Instagram or Goodreads. Somebody had talked about it in some way and I found it and I'm like, well, that looks really interesting. So of course I grabbed it. Next is this book called Wicked Plants, The Weed That Killed Lincoln's Mother and Other Botanical Atrocities. Yes, this is a little bit outside of the norm for me. One of my friends had listened to the audiobook for it and recommended it, and I grabbed the audiobook and I've been listening to it. But then I decided this might be a really good reference for some stuff that I'm writing at the moment, and it'd be way easier to grab this and flip through it and then go, ah yes, Poison Ivy. Let's pull some of this. Oh look, Aloe. Yes, good. It's The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I don't remember which ones are in this, but just look at how pretty it is. And it has the yellow edges. And really what sold me was this lettering on the back. Like, this is gorgeous. And then it has illustrations. So I've read a lot of the Sherlock Holmes stories, but this is just so pretty. I had to bring it home with me and have it on my shelf. Next we have Jade City by Fonda Lee. Now this actually needs to go up near the top of my TBR. Saba Tahir actually recommended that I read this book. I went to her signing for A Reaper at the Gates and we were chatting a little bit, and I told her that I was attempting to write a novel and she was asking about the genre and everything, and then she recommended this book as a good example of the genre that I'm playing with at the moment. So of course I instantly put it on hold at the library and brought it home and have not read it since I got it in June. But I need to, because it sounds amazing, and also Saba recommended it, so like I can't not read this book. Rune Marks by Joanne Harris, and this is a book that I found because a lot of people were posting about one of the books in this series about Loki, and I freaking adore Loki. I mean, he's hilarious. Like, in the Norse myths, I find him hilarious and really entertaining, but then Tom Hiddleston as Loki in all of the Marvel movies just really cemented my love for that character. It's mostly a love for Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of Loki, but I love mythology anyways, so I grabbed this book and I thought I'd give it a try. And next up is Black Dove, White Raven. This book is by Elizabeth Wein. You might have heard of her. She wrote a little thing called Codename Verity, which I loved, and Rose Under Fire, which I haven't read. But I was wandering through the library and I found this, and I did not know that she had written other books. So of course this one came home with me to go onto my perpetual TBR shelf. Next up is Of Other Worlds by C.S. Lewis. I've been on a bit bit of a C.S. Lewis kick recently also, rereading his Narnia books. I've been wanting to dig into some of his other stuff, so I have Of Other Worlds here, and then I think up in my room right now I have The Dark Tower and Other Short Stories, also by Lewis. Next we have Strong Female Protagonist. This one I found because I was wandering through the library and it was right there on display in the recommended section by the graphic novels. I picked it up and started flipping through it. And there's just really sassy notes at the bottom of every page, which I find absolutely hilarious. So it came home with me about 3 months ago and has continued to adorn my shelf. Next up is Wild Card by Marie Lu, and this one is probably right up near the top of the list underneath Jade City for really neat to read. I read Warcross last year. I got it in an uppercase box and I adored that book. I love the sci-fi. I love like the smidge of dystopian in there. It's just so cool. So I need to get to this book ASAP, but there are other books that are keeping me from getting to this one. Written in the Stars by Aisha Saeed, and I picked this one up because my library keeps on doing these really gorgeous color-coded book displays in front of the YA section, and this was either there or it was in a display of suggested books to read, and it was so pretty. And then I picked it up and I read the description and it sounds really good. I think you guys might be sensing a theme. Next up is a reread for me, The Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas. As y'all probably know, Kingdom of Ash is coming out end of October or November, right around there. I don't remember exactly. So I thought I might pick up Tower of Dawn and reread this behemoth to get ready for Kingdom of Ash. So this is lower down on my to-read list, honestly, just because it is a reread and I don't have to reread it before Kingdom of Ash, but I have the option because it's on my shelf. The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. This ties into the Grisha series, I believe, like all of her Grisha-verse. I've read the first book of the Grisha trilogy and I've read both Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I will get to the rest of Leigh Bardugo's books eventually, but you can see my book problem. It's just a smidge of a problem. It's not a problem. It's a love and a passion and I adore it greatly. But this is, it was at my library. I was looking for the Grisha trilogy and this was there instead and I couldn't leave it there on the shelf. And then I discovered that like it's really hard to tell because of the library covers all their books in plastic, but the dust jacket is textured and like I'm like creeping underneath the dust jacket and like this book is gorgeous. Like I would take the cover off if I could, but it's a library copy so I can't. But trust me, it's gorgeous. I will eventually buy this book and then I will show you. We have Fox by Nadine Branders, and this is set around the time of, you know, the whole like Guy Fawkes, gunpowder treason, that whole plot. So this is a historical fiction of around that time about Guy Fawkes' son Thomas. It was sitting on the YA display in my library. I saw it was called Fox and I went, I picked it up, started perusing, and I went, probably wouldn't like buy this book to discover and like figure out if I liked it, but that's what libraries are for. We don't need my whole tags on there. Next we have Escaping from Houdini, the third book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Maniscalco. I think I'm saying her name right. I reserved this book in like 587 million different ways because I just needed my hands on a copy of it. I got like put a hold on a physical copy, I put a hold on a Kindle copy, I put a hold on an audiobook, and then I was just sitting here waiting to see which would come in first. So this copy and my ebook copy came in right around the same time. I grabbed this one from the library and then I got the ebook, and I ended up reading the ebook version of this. So this is the library book. Out of all of those on my shelf, this is one that I have actually read. It's beautiful. I'm going to be talking about it more later. I love this series. It's so good. And we're gonna take a look at the next book now. Next up, we have Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is not a new book by any means. It's been out for I think about 5 years now. And I hadn't really heard much of it, but Vengeful just came out and I'm probably going to be reading Vengeful across October, so I really need to read Vicious. I have a hold on Vengeful at my library in about 587 million different ways. Actually, it might only be one way this time, and I think I'm the only person who has a hold on the book, so like, come on everybody around here, like, what are you doing? Victoria's amazing, like, her books are so good. I was really surprised, like, I'm the only hold on Vengeful. And now we have the books that I just went to the library a couple days ago to get, really have no business getting, but I have An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. I'm so excited. I know a little bit about what this book is discussing, but the biggest thing is I pretty religiously listen to Dear Hank and John, and they have been plugging this book for months, and it worked. Like, they keep on talking about it. I knew that I had to get it, so put it on hold at my library, have a copy of it now. It's on my list to read soon. It's after Jade City and Vicious, but it's right up near the top of the list. You might already know about this. It was a webcomic for the longest time, and now it's being transferred into a book. Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu. I hope I'm saying your name right, because your work is absolutely gorgeous and I freaking adore this. And I haven't even read this, but I've been reading it online, and I feel so happy as I read it, and it's just so good and it's so cute and it's my favorite things. It's a book, it's hockey. Like, I haven't talked about it much, but I love the sport of hockey. This is a really good representation of hockey. It's just so good. I will be doing, like, I'm going to finish reading this soon. This honestly is going to be right before Jade City and Vicious, just because it's Check Please and Biddy needs me. Or really, I need Biddy and everybody else at Samwell. And I just need this in my life. So I'm going to end up finishing this very soon, and then I'm probably going to be doing, I really hope, I'm planning, no guarantees, but I'm planning to be doing a full review of this once I finish it. Fingers crossed this actually all happens soon. Fingers crossed I get through my library shelf. I really hope so. There's only like 22 books on here. The great thing about my library is they don't do overdue fees. I can renew my books as many times as I want, and eventually they just get to a point where they give me an ultimatum of give me the book back or give me $20 for the book. It's not exactly $20, but it feels pretty darn close to that, like, buy the book or give it back, please. And I've very rarely reached that point. Haven't reached it with any of these yet. I'm excited to be digging into my library books. Of course, I have a lot of other books that I can be reading. So this was my current library haul. I will definitely be doing more of these. I tend to get most of my books from the library now instead of buying them. It's just, that's how my budget is working at the moment, so that's how life is. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Let's talk down in the comments. Tell me about what you've gotten from the library recently. What books? Do you get movies, audiobooks? I just love my library, and I'd love to know how you're using yours. And go ahead and let me know what kind of videos you'd like to be seeing, or if there are any of these books in particular that you would like to see a review of on this channel. Have a great day.